Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a sweet little girl who was loved by everyone. She always wore a red riding hood that her grandmother had given her, so everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother packed a basket of goodies and said, "Little Red Riding Hood, take this basket to your grandmother who is ill. Remember, do not stray from the path and don't talk to strangers." Little Red Riding Hood promised to obey her mother and set off through the forest to her grandmother's house. As she walked, she enjoyed the beautiful scenery and soon forgot her mother's warning. She began to pick flowers and wander off the path. Meanwhile, a cunning wolf spotted her and approached. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," he said. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to visit my grandmother and bring her this basket of food," she replied. The wolf, knowing a shortcut, quickly made his way to the grandmother's house. When he arrived, he knocked on the door. "Who is it?" the grandmother called out. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood, bringing you some goodies," the wolf said, disguising his voice. "Oh, come in, dear," the grandmother replied, not suspecting a thing. The wolf entered, locked the grandmother in a closet, and disguised himself in her bed. Soon after, Little Red Riding Hood arrived and knocked on the door. "Who is it?" the wolf asked, mimicking the grandmother's voice. "It's me, Little Red Riding Hood," she said. "I brought you some food." "Come in, dear," the wolf replied. Little Red Riding Hood entered and went to her grandmother's bedside, but something seemed strange. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have!" she exclaimed. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," the wolf replied. "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have!" she said. "All the better to see you with, my dear," the wolf replied. "Oh, grandmother, what big hands you have!" she said. "All the better to hug you with, my dear," the wolf replied. "Oh, grandmother, what big teeth you have!" she said. "All the better to eat you with," the wolf roared, leaping out of bed. Just as the wolf was about to grab Little Red Riding Hood, a woodcutter who was passing by heard the commotion and burst into the house. He quickly struck down the wolf and freed the grandmother from the closet. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother hugged each other tightly, grateful to be safe. Little Red Riding Hood learned an important lesson that day. Always listen to your mother's advice and never talk to strangers. And they all lived happily ever after.